You are listening to Let's Go, the weekly anime podcast about weekly anime from Dynamite in the Brain and Secret of the Sailor Madness. So come along and hang with the Let's Go gang. It's Dwayne.
Hello.
And it's me, Brian. No Niall, because I rearranged this and nobody noticed that I rearranged it. And so we rearranged it for Thursday recording.
You were too busy to check. You were too busy to do. It happens. It's
fine. In this episode, we are covering anime that aired the week of May the 25th to May the 31st, 2024, starting with Go Go Loser Ranger, episode 7, The Zigzag Road to the Final Exam, in which we are still in this final exam, and we will not escape this final exam, and it wasn't as well animated as it was last week.
I do kind of appreciate about the final exam that they're like, what are they, like half-hour blocks, and that is the block over which the episode takes.
Yes.
Like it feels good that way. Like we're tuning in for them in the episode, for the episode. Yeah, that works. But yeah, I get what you mean about the look of it.
Yes,
it's more about establishing the the hastily thrown together new fucking exam that the examinees are fucking setting up because they've decided to work in teams against each other.
Yes. So essentially, the main things which occur is Shion is impressed with this working together thing that was suggested to him by D in his disguise as Sakuraba, and so therefore he's going to team up with the other cool guys from the other teams and not Sakuraba.
It was the end of the last episode, and he was kind of like a last exam, and he was like, "Hey, I want to talk to you. Like, maybe this team up thing is actually pretty good." You feel like he's about to say it, but D can't do that because he's like, "Ah, fuck, your one's running around in the background. She's up to mischief. I have to catch her and put her back in the wardrobe again."
Yes, she's using Morse code or the alien equivalent of it, tapping on the pipes.
Hopefully, to communicate with someone randomly outside, but she's pretty desperate.
Yes. So, yeah. Unfortunately, what she does communicate with while they're back doing the next exam is Heltrola, an executive.
AKA
who is also
God.
The God one. We also get some of Shion's background. He's also... His family were all killed by an executive who the Dragon Keepers say did not exist. They deny
that was never an official fight or something, basically, yeah.
Yes. And we get a clear idea of how they're pulling the wool over everyone below the top levels. Well, I guess also the second in commands. The second in commands know as well the lie, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe not, though. Maybe, and for sure, obviously, Suzukiri does, but she may have found that out by other means, because obviously
she might have found it out using her position, not she was informed of it, that kind of thing. Which, I mean, we don't know her reasons for wanting to take this whole fucking system apart, but many people want to take this whole system apart because it fucking sucks.
Because she has been watching these Sunday fights, expecting to see the executive who killed his family show up. But so far, it's not. Just these lame executives keep on showing up.
He bought all the DVDs and everything,
He takes personal offense to.
Those are my friends doing the best they could. Was being like truck lion. That's the best we got.
So yeah, he runs into, is it Urabi, who's the one who looks like a little girl but seems to indicate that she's not a little girl in a dialogue.
She keeps saying it's like, to be young again, but that kind of, it keeps suggesting shit like that. But when he runs into her, he's like, "Oh fuck, are we fighting now?" It's like, no, I lost my key and we're ordered. As soon as we lose the key, you stop being a monster and you have to stop fighting. That's the rules of the test. So I'm willing to have a chat with you. Come on, sit down to me and we'll have a little talk out, kind of thing.
It's Izome is her, yes. But while that's happening, we see Takita is being beaten up by the 5 who've teamed up together, and Sakura.
Because they've realized that it's kind of like, wait a minute, there's 5 keys and there's 10 of us, and we're on teams of 2, so you're competing with your own team members. So let's just make a team of 5 guys and get 5 keys. That makes way more sense, right?
Now they've got 2 keys, and then by the end they end up getting 3 keys because that Suzukiri, the 4 weak guys team up. Also,
we didn't see what the fifth guy is up to, did we?
No, I don't think we
Yeah,
did.
the other fifth of the loser ones, because again we're leading into that loser range of things. These are the rejects of the lowest fucking tier.
Yes.
They have to team up. Yeah.
Yes, because he gets into a scrap with Kaguma, who punches him in the head, and his head turns to dust. And so now Kaguma knows that he's a duster.
Yeah,
but
like he's revealing to him, it's like
this.
we losers have to team up, and he's like, okay, that kind of thing. Yeah, and I mean, like even later on, where one of them is berating him for, it's like, you're that guy who fucking thinks we should get along with the monsters, and then he's like, I don't know if that's necessarily a bad idea, says the short curly haired guy. It's just like,
some monsters are pretty cool, and no, because they're saying, oh, now we're the monsters now, and we're going to fight a keeper. That's how we should be thinking about this, rather than the other way around.
He's like trying to use what he knows. Is like, wait a minute, I've been in so many Sunday fights. I'm trying to reverse this fucking thing, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. So they do a pretty good job of, but they don't manage to get the key off Suzukiri. But she congratulates 3 of them, insults and pushes the fourth guy up against the pillar, because he was being a coward and hiding behind the other 3.
She was impressed with him, like, facing her, but he was kind of just shooting from cover, and it's just like, not cool.
And Sakurama's like, well, it seems like fake Sakurama D is like, well, it seems like they let anybody be the keeper, so why are you going to stop him from being a keeper? And then she's like, okay, fair enough, here you go. Gives it to the guy who she's just a moment ago had pressed up against a
I think
column.
she can basically, she does this also because she confirms, it's like, hey, if you were to get to the top rank of keepers, what would the first thing you do be? Answer quickly in 5 seconds. And he's like, I don't know, fucking world domination. And everyone's like, what? And she's like, that's D. All right, excellent. Okay, I just needed to confirm that. Here's my key. I'm happy enough to let you do a lot of the ways of me getting those legendary fucking weapons. Like, that's basically her plan. Yeah.
And then the guy instantly has the key nicked off him by the bullies.
They like take it out of his hand. It's very high school fucking bullying kind of shit. Yeah.
Meanwhile, down below, Double X is discovered by a member of the Blue Battalion.
The guy who's basically the janitor, who's just like, no. Listen, I'm actually higher up ranked, but I don't like fighting. And you forget, it's like, oh yeah, she is a duster, because she like immediately gets her ass kicked by him. And he's like, I'm not trying to kill you. That's why I became a janitor. I'm here, like, we'll see if we can work something out. And then he is fucking murdered immediately.
Yes, because this is where Paltrola makes his entrance. Who's just wandering around and takes Double X on a tour of all the places they did terrible things to, or he claims they did terrible things to the executives. So I'm going to guess that he will somehow get involved in this exam, and it will suddenly become live ammo.
Yeah, and also probably take out a bunch of the examinees, which will definitely increase the amount of keys per person. Yeah.
Yes, and we see at the end, Izome has spotted that he's wandering around at will, murdering members of the Blue Battalion. I guess everything of importance that happens this episode. Like I said, story-wise, it's fine. Animation-wise, it's a bit of a dip from last episode. Goodness knows how long this exam arc is going to take, though. But at least we know
now that the boss has shown up, like, it's going to go to shit, basically. Yeah.
Yes, it's going to accelerate in some weird manner. But yeah, there's only 2 keys left available for.
Well, also you can steal it off the other team, because they stole it off your team. So yeah, that's appropriate.
Then we've got more monster fighting in Kaiju number 8, episode 7, Kaiju number 9.
God, I'm confusing amount of numbers now that I'm looking at it. Dear. Oh, you didn't watch this shit. I'm gonna have to remember everyone's fucking name and what happened. Damn it! So where did we fucking leave off the last fucking time? I'm trying to remember.
They found the guy in the recovery uniform, and then he melted and turned into Kaiju.
Yeah. So we're kind of cutting back to there, and it's gotten into the deadly thing because again, this is very much so it's a regular fucking job. It seems big because it's a giant mushroom monster, but it's a regular job. And then this fucking cunt shows up and starts like blasting holes in our two younger fucking. They're not cadets at this stage. I think only Kafka is the only one who counts as a cadet somehow. They're whatever it is, low ranking like lieutenants or something. But yeah, they start getting like holes shot in them. It's good because it's it kind of like has the level of threat in it, and it they keep saying things like use the suit to like suture your wounds together, and it's I was just that's you're still getting like holes out of you, like chunks sticking out of your arms and legs, and I was like fucking hell, like I feel like extensive surgery is also the fucking thing needed basically. Um, but yeah, I kind of forget how brutal this can be sometimes with the look of it. Trying to remember what fucking happens after they're getting fucked up. Obviously, our Kafka has to show up eventually. Yeah, it has that satisfying music kind of stings as well of the guys kind of getting through. I think it's just a lot of fighting as far as I'm remembering. Yeah, and our kaiju number 9 is kind of surprised by 8, another talking guy, and also kind of surprised is like, wait a minute, you're crazy strong, and he's trying to like he keeps pulling out bullshit tricks like he can shoot like finger bullets, but they have the timing down because Kafka explained it to him after seeing it the first time, or it was explained to Kafka and then by your one who got shot by him before. But he keeps growing like extra arms and shooting multiple little flick bullets. He's such a shit, and he's going to continue to be a shit for some fucking time, which is the unfortunate thing about Kaiju number 9. He keeps coming back. He's that kind of fucking prick, basically. Yeah, no, I think it's a lot of like tactics and survival and just thinking on your feet and doing the best you can. And also, we have your man kind of going like jumping in. It's like, hey, save yourself, call the guys, and he's like, no, I'm going to turn back around and get you. It's good. It's fairly like I don't think a lot of plot progression, but yeah, Kafka shows up to kick ass in the end. But the main problem is Nine's like, I'm gonna come back for you, and then our vice captain with the swords is like, oh, a kaiju number 8, time for us to fight, and because he assumes it's all 8's fault, and it's like, yeah, it's nice because it built so many moments between him and Kafka, like in the prior episodes, and now it's like now your boss who likes you and made sure you were on the job is about to fucking murder you. Yeah, no, good stuff.
Jolly good. Then we got Train to the End of the World, episode 9. More boring than I thought.
Yeah, this is a really nice reversal of like the last episode, which was wild and weird and fun. This is wild and weird and very bad. Everything's very bad.
Oh, what are you saying? 7G is going perfectly fine. This is not a problem. There is not an apocalypse going up.
Sure.
The technology has worked exactly as planned.
Like I assume it's just the guys like if I keep maintaining this, it's a success. And also if I keep the Witch Queen happy, then I'm the guy below the girl in charge, and therefore I'm doing well out of myself.
Yes, a good chunk of the episode is we learn what's happened to Yoka and the state she's currently in, which seems to be mostly amnesiac.
Kind of like drowsy and not fully aware, and it's like as soon as she starts thinking, it's just like, wait, why is that the case? And someone has to go, no, forget about that. It's different now. But they're trying to keep a routine where she gets up, has breakfast, goes to school, but it's all done by Pochi, the man, not the dog.
Yes, but there's also loads of clues that whoever this Pochi is, this is not his original form.
Yeah. This is not who he's supposed to be, because he's very I like how a lot of that comes across, where most of it comes across in him going like, she's like, hey, you're like Pochi, because he's big and round and that kind of shit, and your man's like, okay, I guess I'm Pochi then. Like, what do you think we should do? There's no personality there. He's always asking other people what he should think and do in any given situation. A lot of the time, anyway.
Yes, and we see that he's slowly realizing that this plan that our villain Pontaro
Hmm.
has is probably not the best idea.
Yeah, no shit.
So it's not going to be a surprise when he turns
yeah.
later on down the line. Also, she turns people into egg custards. Is that what she
That is it.
does?
I was going to say pudding, but yeah, you're right. It's is like one guy is trying to assassinate the Witch Queen as they're walking down the road, and he's like, "I'm gonna get you," and he's strangled by Pochi for a little bit, and she's like, "Well." With egging on from our villain, is just like, hey, this guy thinks you're full of shit. This guy doesn't like this thing that you've made. He doesn't agree with you. And she's like, okay, egg pudding, and your man's like, eats him immediately. Eats the egg pudding. He's like, oh, I did it again. And I was like, I think you're doing it again on purpose, because maybe if it wears off, they'll turn back into a guy. But if you eat them, it doesn't. I don't know. It's weird.
And then the second half is back with the girls on the train, worrying about have we returned our library books, animals washing their hands. And
will her mom be able to get the lunchbox that she left on the shelf, because she is a red panda, that kind of thing? Yeah.
And the return of the guy in the swan boat who they have to rescue.
Because he's going down some whitewater rapids by the look of it.
Yes.
But they rescue him in a cool action sequence, and he points out, it's like, see, I told you, my map was 100% accurate, just vague as shit. They have to admit that he was right. He gives them an updated map, by which I mean I think he colors it in. Yeah.
He fills in the rest of the stops that was empty.
Yeah. That's true.
The communication is they've got to ruin Pontari's plans and put an end to them. We've now got like a translation device.
Yeah, our tiny
choo-choo
scientist
noises
is working on a universal translator for choo-choo noises. Sometimes it just translates as choo-choo. So we can talk to him most of the time, because he's the guy who knows everything, but he had the, was it wibble wobble surgery done to his brain?
Wibble surgery, yes. So the Swan Man takes some food and heads back into the world. And we've only got 2 more stops. Of which we'll get to next week. I've already watched next week's. It's a fantastic episode.
Oh, excellent. Okay. I've been sparing myself from it, so yeah.
It's more eventful than this one was, but this one was like a night. This one was necessary because we now know that the Witch Queen is not doing this out of malice; it's out of manipulation, and we know what the lay of the land is once our heroines get to their final destination.
Yeah, it's a good way to do it, because like to make, because I mean, like, as we know, she ran away from the town because she was essentially the victim. Her friend really was a real dick to her, and her friend wants to apologize, which is good. But for her to be the villain then would kind of be like, you're trying to, sorry villain, could you stop being villainous? You turned into villainy because I was a dick. And it's just like, it's more complicated that she's been manipulated by some fucking tech pro. And I was just like, yeah, okay, that's a little better at least.
Yeah, and the satire of Pontaro is highly evident in his dialogue.
Yeah.
The idea when you see the background and whatever the city looks like, and they're just pretending that it's fine.
They're having a nice meal. He keeps having to correct her from his name. It's actually Pontaro. Just being like, he wants to be the guy in charge, but he's being like a crony because that's the best he can do right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they've done something to her. They're the ones who've removed her memories as well.
Probably for control purposes anyway. Because we kind of overhear the creation of new Pochi the man. Because he keeps threatening him with, it's like, if you want to turn back, you're gonna have to do what the fuck I say. So yeah, I don't know. Like, I kind of hope he's a different kind of dog. That would be funny. But I guess we'll
Yes.
see.
Then we've got Route of On Taxi, episode 9. I am a cat. Which, yes, all the plot pointed, all the places the plot was pointing to was correct. It was not a red herring. She is indeed the illegitimate daughter. And that's a big part of the motivation because she goes off to Tokyo to audition to join this idol group, and she makes a friend who unfortunately turns out to be the other daughter of her father.
But not only the other daughter of her father. So it's like this girl is literally the legitimate daughter and has got everything in her life and everything's working out for her. But like, even with the ways, like, yeah, you were second choice to her role in the band. Like, you were like, you're always fucking second banana. And again, it kind of contrasts really well with our detective kind of story in relation to the murder victim. That she's like a really good person. Like, she's really fucking sound. She's really nice. Everyone keeps pointing it out, to the point where the guy, I can't remember, it was one of the producers, I guess, pointing it out to the manager. It's just like, that girl's got charisma. It's like, yeah, no, not the lead one, that other one. She should be the center, because she's super nice. The other two girls are bickering in the idol group, and she resolves it by being a decent person, and they're all like, yeah, you're really fucking cool. Everyone likes her, and that's what's so frustrating to many people around her. She's clearly the best person.
Yes.
Too good for this fucking, in this case, in the narrative of the world, narrative of the show. In this world, she's too good to live, basically.
Yes, and I don't think there's any clues here, and I
Hmm.
don't think he'll go there. But there is the thing of like her saying, "Oh, I'm doing this without my dad knowing because I didn't want him to pull strings to get me a job."
To
And then you're
to
like,
like, yeah.
but then you're like, we know as viewers that the group you're auditioning for already has connections to your dad.
So yeah, they're connected to her dad in that they're both connected to the same fucking mafia guy,
Yes.
like, as a thing. And I was just like, was this just coincidence? It seems fucking unlikely. Seems like, hey, get my fucking daughter a review, like, kind of thing. He's like maybe staying back out of it, and maybe that's why he was so fucking like
Yeah, or
fucked up
it's
about it. Yeah,
the
yeah.
or it's the tapir doing it as a favor to Don
Without
Raku
saying
without
it to
Don
him.
Raku knowing.
Yeah, because he'd probably know the daughter because he knew Don Raku for years and years. Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
Yes, because that's what I was thinking. Oh, is that gonna like we're getting another chance to break Don Raku's heart even further as to
Yeah,
learn that
your shady connections got your daughter killed. Way to fucking
yes.
go. It's like,
Except
uh,
because by the end of the episode it is made absolutely clear that she would be killing people regardless of their parentage.
it's the idea that, like, you can see the entire episode is like this slow descent for her. It's just like she's trying to be a decent fucking person, but it turns out there was a better version of her out there, and that just drives her insane. Like, it's absolutely her
Yes.
breaking point. Because
But
even when she shows
yeah.
up at that night
It's the
at
killing the
the
cats is what I'm talking about.
I mean, like, the killing the cats was definitely like, and I'm not saying that's a good person thing to do by no fucking stretch. It's clearly she's murdering cats in order as a stress release valve, and obviously eventually progresses to fucking humans. Because like, when she arrives at the practice place, she's just happy to see your one there. But then, as soon as she finds out, like, oh, they're making me the center, it's like she was like, I wasn't gonna kill you, but now that you're the main fucking star of my life and everyone else's fucking life, yeah, now I feel fucking justified. Like, it nearly feels like she's happy to see her, but then it fucking switches. Like, we're just like, oh, you're the most successful you can be now. Okay, fuck you. It's, I mean, like any other things, she's not well, so any of the other things could have pushed her to people murder rather than just cat murder. Yeah.
Yes, because we see her feeding cats is then later on when we're back in modern day and we've got the following of her back to her apartment by Sato and he's sniffing the cat
It wasn't.
food and
I
he's
was initially like, why the fuck is she put out the cat food? And it's like, why the fuck is he picking up and sniffing? And then it was like, kind of, you're watching it like, oh fuck, okay, okay.
yes, and there's been reports of various stray cats being found dead in this area. and then you're like,
Mhm.
oh, okay, there's another person who who the car was saved by keeping that cat in his cupboard.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, so we and also so we get a lot of the flashback. We get some modern day stuff with the detectives, and we also get like clips of a TV show where they're talking to Watagaki and
Mm.
the other girl, and they're talking about how they were being
It's fun with
exploited.
them because yeah, they're using this media circus around them to talk about their story in
Yes, and
part,
relaunch their careers as well.
relaunch their career because now they have the pity fucking vote. It's like I was meant to go on dates with men as old as my father, and she's there crying. I was like, you were getting paid for that. That's why you fucking did it. But okay, fair enough. Um, yeah,
Yeah, it's and then yeah, it looks like next week is the story careering into the end of Odd Taxi.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
so it looks like we'll get some more explanation of stuff that didn't get explained. I didn't need to get explained there because it had an ambiguous ending till the movie.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, you could see it going either way. The movie gives a more definitive one. I assume this will go with the same ending, the movie ending. I assume, and because like it's a detective story, so her being caught or found out or cornered would be the way to end it
Yes,
satisfying.
and
Yeah,
I assume our heroes from this story are going to have
yeah.
something to do with her getting caught.
Because they're the
In it.
ones actually. I mean, like they've only found out like last episode, I guess, the prior episode, that they were actually chasing her. They're like, we're trying to find who fucking did it. Like that's what we're after right now. And they know who the fuck did it now to catch her. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's all very good. It's God, it's a lot of interesting material around this one series, and the original Odd Taxi director has a movie, an entirely new movie coming out
Oh,
down the
not
pipe.
set in another fucking side story. in
No,
July.
no, no. It's
That'd be
I
too
think
much.
I think I mean the comic is still ongoing of Route of Odd Taxi, so
Wow. Okay.
there's potentially I don't know whether this part of the story is because I noticed that Volume 4 has got the meerkats on the cover who have barely been in this adaptation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
so I don't know whether it goes down other routes after this route.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like, I really enjoy this, and again, like, I keep saying it, but like, I really love the direction on. There's really nice framing kind of stuff where she's saying at the internet cafe, and it's like she's getting the call to be like she's getting the call. It's like, hey, we need you to fill in a spot in the band that's suddenly fucking shown up. Like she doesn't fucking know how the fuck it suddenly came up, and kind of just seeing her reaction in her little vanity mirror, and that kind of, I was like, just really fucking nice stuff. Like, yeah.
Now, were you watching Bartender Glass of God, or was that just Niall?
I am watching that. I'm also watching Jellyfish. I said I give it another shot. Kind of don't know if I should. I know I'm too fucking kind sometimes, man. Where I
Well,
just
I took it off the schedule because you said you weren't going to watch it next time. So, but do
it's
tell me about Bartender Glass of God episode 9, North Wind, though.
yeah. It's Ryu and I can't remember her name. The granddaughter of the mogul who's trying to fucking get him to work in his fancy bar. They're technically like going on a date. They're going out to a nice bar. Like it's just like, oh, I gotta show you this really nice bar. He's like, I think it's around here somewhere, and he walks into a place, and it's the skeeviest dive bar. It's like his bar, but it's all grey tones. I was just like, okay, fair enough. But it turns out his old what do you call it, senpai is working there. Kitakata, who they worked under the same boss. What was his name, Goro or something like that. Um, Back in the day, it's like, what are you doing working this skeevy dive bar kind of thing? And he's like, I'll tell you the story, but first, what do you want? This is a bar for people to get drunk at. I think they get a Bloody Mary because they're like really good here. Like he tests him with the Bloody Mary, and one's like, oh yeah, I'll have one of those as well. And he's like, all right, I'll make you up one of those. A lady of the night comes in with some drunk guy, and she's like, yeah, another Bloody Mary. He's like, all right, everyone's getting Bloody Marys, and this isn't the kind of bar where people explain stories to you in your fancy ass bar. This is a bar where people get drunk. He does explain the story of the difference between a Bloody Mary and a Bloody Caesar, which is what he's actually making. and your one gives it the prostitute gives it to her John, and he drinks it, and he's like, "All right, baby, now you said you go with me," and he was like, "Whoa!" His feet fall out from under him, because that got him super fucked up. Ryu's potential girlfriend has also knocked back her cocktail and is also fucked up, because it's basically like it makes you way drunker than you'd think it would get you. Like it's a much higher alcohol content than you're used to, because he's mixing in air or some kind of thing. But yeah, so Ryu's kind of like, it's like what's it, the fucking alcohol, serving alcohol as a bartender is either medicine or poison, and what you're doing is poison. And the guy is kind of like, listen, man, that woman who just came in here, she like got pregnant when she was like a teenager. She was sold off into indentured servitude and fucking had an abortion and all this. She'd had a really shitty life. So what she does is tricks these fuckers into giving her money, and I'm just helping her along. This isn't a hospital. This is a, what was it, like a field hospital in a war zone, and I'm on the front lines or some fucking bollocks. You know how it works in this show. So it's like poison is what's needed in this shady area of town, basically, is what he's saying. So Ryu's kind of like, all right, you kind of ruined the fucking mood, even though your man's like, hey, I got your girlfriend drunk enough for you to bang her. Ryu's like, I'm just gonna like walk her to the station and leave off. Like, this is kind of fucked right now. And then later on, your man shows up in his bar, and he brings the same prostitute, and she's kind of like uncomfortable. She's like, I don't know, man. I usually just drink beer. This is a bit too fancy for me. And he makes her a camperina, because I think it's kind of like the drinks. It's similar to a drink she would like, and he makes it two different ways for each of them, showing you, it's like, if you just change it from white sugar to brown sugar, it changes the flavor profile and all this jazz. He's like, okay, Ryu, you're pretty good. And it's like, yeah, but do you think the old man would want you serving poison rather than medicine? And he's like, listen, you don't even know what happened to the old man. And later on, like next day or whatever, takes him to see the guy, because Ryu was talking about like a bartender isn't a job, it's a way of life. And it's like, all right, so let me show you what happened to the old man. He's in hospital, done up, because he never took a day off from bartending his whole life, and he had like a heart attack. It put him in hospital, and it's like, that's what this life will get you, man, in hospital. Because it's so hard being a bartender. It's like, he could have just took weekends off or something. Well, maybe not weekends, not in a bartender, but you know, he could have took days off, is what I'm saying. It didn't need to be his whole life. So it's kind of like, it's just like, you can't make it your whole life, it'll ruin you being a bartender, that kind of thing. Well, your one kind of like goes back to your man Skeevy Bar. It's like, tell me Ryu's backstory. I need to fucking find out what his deal is. And it's just kind of like, yeah, it's been interesting so far. It's like, oh, it's because Ryu thinks he killed someone with bartending, and it's like, dun dun dun. I presume he was on the bar at the fucking Eiffel Tower or someplace high up. It was a high hotel that he was working at, and he got someone so drunk they fell off the building and died. That's my guess, but I guess we have to find out that next episode. So that's how you can kill someone with bartending from high up, I guess. It's hardly he made drinks so good that guy died of alcoholism or something. That would be really fucking dark. Something dramatic, I would assume. But yeah, I guess we'll find out next time. No, it's really good. I like it, the Camperina. It's like really nice because that's a protected. What do you call it? Like, it's a Brazilian protected one where it's like it has to be made from these ingredients, that kind of thing. But like, I'll never drink a Bloody Mary. Tomato juice is not for drinking. That's gross.
Right, next up is Chibi Godzilla Raids Again, Series 2, Episode 8. Chibi Godzilla has the May Blues.
I just remembered it now, yeah.
No, Chibi Godzilla, you don't have the May Blues. You've just slept poorly and turned into one of Shin Godzilla's forms. He's like, no, I've got the May Blues. That's what's done this. No, this. Look, the same red liquid's coming out of you as was before last time.
Red liquid coming out. That means it's the May Blues, I believe. Yeah, just, and this time we have the difference of Ghidorah also being there, and
Rodan first.
Rodan first. Well. You're right. Yeah.
What's his May Blues? I'm ignoring Rodan, and this is what he normally feels like in the cartoon. It's because it's a shorter thing than Chibi Ghidorah's. Chibi Ghidorah's is the one head has hasn't eaten for a month.
Oh, look, he's got the May Blues. He's got the red stuff coming out. It's like, no, that head is dying. You need to feed that third head.
Oh, no, I remember, yes. Because Chibi Rodan says, I'm so unmotivated. And then Chibi
Yeah.
Mechagodzilla, yes, that's the May Blues. That's what he's got. He's got the May Blues. And then he says, like, I'm so unmotivated. I'm too lazy to go into the bathroom, so I'm just holding my pee in. Chibi Mechagodzilla says, well, that's concerning. You shouldn't be doing that.
It's like an example of the May Blue shows up, but no, it doesn't, because all these monsters are fucking stupid.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it.
And then Chibi Godzilla's like, no, okay, right, yes, now I do have the May Blues. I'm so unmotivated. I'm only managing to eat 4 meals a day.
Dear.
Too lazy to plate my sauce. That's another one of his May Blue symptoms. Yeah, then Chibi Ghidorah is one head's acting strangely. It's because the May Blues, no. And then they go May Blues Championship. Yes, he hasn't eaten at all for a month yet. So they're just acting weird as opposed to actually having the May Blues. And at least one of them really needs to go to hospital.
It's a great man's eye, but with, I mean, like, counting Chibi Ghidorah, technically 5 characters. But still,
Six.
Well, one of the heads isn't doing anything, so I'm not really.
Bleeding counts.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, that was it. It's so packed with jokes that some of them slip my mind. But yeah, it's I'm annoyed at not remembering the Rainbow one, because that was funny. Of like, yes, that's it. That's May Blues, and then him saying
Immediately,
weird.
no.
Delicious in Dungeon, episode 22, Griffin and Familiars, in which we get some more information about Thistle from the mayor. Turns out Thistle was originally hired as a jester. Was raised alongside the grandfather who he's looking for.
The first
Delgal.
king of the kingdom, as regards to this fucking thing. Delgal was his.
Yeah.
Basically, they were raised like siblings, but obviously Thistle, being an elf, doesn't age, whereas Delgal does age.
Delgal encouraged Thistle to learn magic, which he did, and then he.
Yeah, we got all these ancient scrolls and shit sitting around the kingdom. Like, just go nuts, Thistle, and you kind of like scrolling past that very specific fucking magical book. Yeah.
So he cast a spell of immortality on the kingdom, and so they're all immortal. He killed some people because they thought because that comes after when Leia says, yeah, I'd like to meet him. Can you organize me meeting him? We've got a few things I need to ask him. He's like, well, that should be a problem, because look, outside his familiars are all around watching, and they're already suspicious that something's happening. But I can't let you meet him because he might kill you. He's done it to people before who he thought helped the king escape.
Helped Delgal escape. And obviously a lot of those people who didn't fucking die, because that's the rules of the dungeon. Those are a lot of the ghosts you're seeing around the place. Yeah. Yes. And a few people did try to escape of their own fucking accord, and they didn't fucking come back, because
take these vegetables and leave the same way you came. And they're like, hang on, same way and then they get pulled back through by the ghosts again. And then Thistle shows up and goes, who are you talking to?
Oh man, he's so creepy. It's great. Because I mean, like, everything has been fairly chill in this, but there's obviously been this current of, like, you need to get the fuck out of here. This is Danger Town. We're fine, but you guys are fucked. Yeah.
Yeah. I might go back and rewatch the episode with the magic painting to see.
Yeah, because you get it in order that way.
That's more illuminating with this additional information.
But I mean, like, part of the thing with the magical painting is Thistle, the mad mage, the mad magician, lunatic magician. I keep forgetting what they go with.
Lunatic
magician.
With, yeah.
He's obviously like going through the motions of the time of it, but obviously things are changeable because Laos is there interacting with it, and therefore, because he's Lord of the Dungeon, he can kind of go, "Hey, who the fuck are you?" That kind of thing. Like, it's like assuming direct control of his painting avatar, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, because they talk in this episode of like how the dungeon's his arms and his legs.
Exactly. So, and you did get an example of that with Marcel having her vision spread across multiple bodies, and how she's like, I am getting motion sickness. How the fuck does Thistle do this shit?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we get reiteration. Don't go and speak to Thistle. Go and speak to the winged lion who's captured deep in the dungeon.
Yeah, you might have seen his picture around the dungeon, like all the fucking time. Every fucking thing is like wing line, wing line, wing line, like on your sword. That happened to show up one of the fucking episodes.
So yeah, now they're back in the snow, and
They're in a dwarf.
said she starts to have a panic attack. I think even before the griffin comes along, it just gets worse when the griffin appears.
They're in a dwarf reservoir. So it's very dwarfy, and everyone's like, "Wow, this is an incredible fucking work of thing." And then she's like, "We need to get the fuck out of here." And it's like, "Hey, there's tracks here. I think there might be your sister, Lois." And it's just like, "No, they're the tracks of Griffin." It's like Senji's like, "Fuck, fuck, 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 fuck." Like,
Yes.
actually, yeah, having full panic attacks, going into full just running away screaming, essentially.
Yeah, because he gets Chilchuk to look for dwarven sigils and
So they can
so they
orient
can
their
figure out
direction.
where they
Yeah.
are. Yeah.
Mm.
But yes, and then this is where they realize. I think it's when they gets captured. Is they realize, oh, we don't really know anything about Senshi.
Yeah, it's the fucking cat. Their new cat friend is like, "What's the deal with that fucking dwarf anyway?" And they're like,
yes,
"We don't fucking ask each other about personal lives." And she's like, "What the fuck?" Like, the new guy has to fucking ask about, like, who's that guy? What's his deal that just got picked up by a fucking griffin and carried off into the darkness?
Yeah, look, we're traditional D&D characters. We're just rolled up and go straight in the dungeon. We don't
We
come in
understand
here
we
with a
have
load.
backgrounds that give us skills and that kind of shit,
Yes.
but like, it's not really important.
No, we don't come in here with a background and then try and roll up a character to fit that background. Yeah, it did feel like two different eras of D&D characters coming up against.
Yeah,
like, we're the Japanese characters. We've got all these different backgrounds, and we've all got it figured out, and we're all rolled up together. Whereas you're just
Senshi joined the game later after one of the players dropped out, and she's not been consistent with coming in. Honestly, yeah.
So yeah, then they decide once we rescue Senshi, we'll properly introduce ourselves. I think Chilchuk comes to that conclusion.
We're technically friends now. We should probably know anything about him. That would be probably
So the griffin has popped him in a nest to eat later, and so they're going to. Marcel's going to create her own familiars, just like Thistle does, out of meat and magic. So
I love the fact that you can like summon with calories, is like literally what she's saying, like that kind of shit. And I'd seen so many pictures of it. Laos's face of it's just like, oh my god, you're gonna make your own monster. What's it gonna look like? He's so excited because he wants to make a monster. Monsters are cool. So making your own one, that's the coolest thing. Those suck. Those are the worst fucking things I've ever seen.
They look like God, what's the name of the character? It's Robin in Teen Titans Go, is sentient Robin Rang.
Yeah, it's the same kind of
like.
two-dimensional bird shape.
Yeah,
it's halfway between like a paper cutout of a bird by a child.
Yes.
Who's done the beak sideways because that's the way it should face. Or like a thing made out of plasticine or something like that. It looks terribly simple, and that's why Laos is incredibly disappointed because it doesn't even fly very good. The first one, she makes 3 out of all their fucking supplies, essentially. Yeah.
Birdarang, yeah, so similar to Birdarang. I think just the wings are the opposite way around.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, the first one isn't aerodynamic, so and
it locates Senshi,
like you said, she's seeing her own eyes and the familiar's eyes at the same time, so they have to blindfold her, and then as she's envisioning the familiar, she's often miming the movements of the familiar.
It doesn't give her motion sickness, essentially. So when they're trying to chase the familiar so they can keep up with the griffin, like at one point Laos has to give her like a piggyback while she makes like an eagle spread kind of thing with her arms. It's just like it's just easier this way. That's the way she keeps explaining it. So like it's just easier for me to mimic the motions of the familiar because I'm controlling its body. So it's weird. Yeah.
So second one, Laos molds to make it more aerodynamic.
He uses things he's learned from dragons and griffins, and it's just like it looks more like an actual creature now. Yeah, it's better.
Still fails. So this time I'm going to make it look like a Games Workshop model.
It's going to have spikes and fucking like thing, and I'm going to give it fangs. And again, the plasticine thing is absolutely the thing because Marcel kind of coming in and just squishing it, and him going like, "No, I've worked really hard on that." Because she's been inspired by his bullshit to create the most perfect, beautiful form. What are they called? Skyfish is what she calls it.
Okay.
But
Yes.
I mean, the same thing showed up in JoJo there.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean. Yes.
It's like an Uma kind of thing.
Yeah, I
Loops or
can't remember
something
what
like
it
that.
was.
It's basically from people took photographs of like at night, and it was moths moving around, but it looks like a really long snake-like thing with loads of wings along its body. And
Yes.
so they assumed it was some kind of like incredibly fast creature. They only managed to barely capture on. It's like it's a moth, but it's a cool idea for a monster. So that's Marcel's cool plan to make the skyfish.
Yeah, it's a big sausage with dragonfly wings.
It's not about looking cool, it's about efficiency, and obviously her flailing around on the ground like a worm is the way this thing has to take flight. And it's like the griffin's kind of like, all right, I think I can take this thing, but it's a bullet as well because it's the front end is just a spike, and it could just pierce the fucking griffin essentially in midair or pierce its wing.
Yeah, and then they eat it. The familiar, not the griffin.
Piercing its wing causes a crash. Laos runs over, finishes it off with the sword. Because Griffin is badass, but on the ground, it's another monster you can kill. But it turns out
the first one they actually get a rope to Senshi, didn't they? The second one, rather, they got a rope to Senshi, and then they had to distract it long enough to
get down, basically. Yeah.
Yes.
It turns out the the skyfish has all the food. All its organs are organized in the way of the food that you used to make it, which is gross, and it's apparently delicious. And I love Laios kind of going like, man, this is the superior fucking kind of monster meat. And yeah, again, our cat is saying it's just like it took like 5 weeks of rations to fucking took all our rations to make this one fucking meal. This is not cost effective way of doing it. Delicious though it is. Also, she's only eaten the wings of the sky fish and chips, I think is what they call it.
Yes.
Good stuff.
And then Shoshoku introduces himself, points out that I'm married and I have 2 daughters who I don't get to see the rest of my family these days.
For various reasons. Yeah, I'm not going to go into those details, but I am supporting my family by doing dungeon shit. Yeah.
Yeah, so then we get the shocked Marcel face.
Dillashock is canonically definitely the only one of them that is fucked. So yeah.
Seems highly likely as well.
Yeah.
This is the only one who has.
In terms of fan art, I think he's one of the high-end ones of people drawing him. So people are horny for that fucking half foot, man. I don't know what to tell you.
And
it's the sarcasm,
maybe. A flashback of Senshi as a beardless little boy breaking into the dungeon at a young age with 5 other dwarves.
Yeah, it's the idea is like, hello, my name is Senshi of, he names the place he's from. Here's my backstory, and we're going to get into that fucking next episode, which is good shit.
Yes, because there was the thing where they're like, how does he know about these things?
How did he say he's been in this dungeon for 10 years when it was discovered 6 years ago? Yes. That kind of fucking shit. Doesn't line up.
What's going on with this guy? And I assume that's what we're going to get into in, I guess, 2 more episodes of the series. And I think it's 24 episodes, or 25, I can't remember.
I thought it was 24 because it was two cores, which is like 12 and 12, isn't it?
Yeah. This in Dungeon episode count. 24 they'll be, yeah.
Hmm.
Then we've got Windbreaker episode 9, Yumemiya's Style.
Hmm.
In which we learn the tragic story of Choji. It's not that tragic. He just got a bit carried away.
Yep. You focused all your thing on this one thing, and it turned out that wasn't what you wanted. You could have very easily circumvented this, but then your friend kind of enabled it. So that's he does take the blame for that a little, but it is mostly his fault, to be fair.
Yes. But yes, the enabling is definitely a big part of the problem here.
Yeah, sure.
Because he wasn't really listening to Choji.
Mm.
Because what Choji wanted was to have fun with his friends, but by making
Which he
him the
was already
leader,
doing that. Yeah.
he was unable to do that.
If I'm in
Yes.
charge, then I will logically have the most fun with my friends. And it's like, yeah, this sucks. Or at least isn't as good as I thought it would be. So therefore I need to be more fucking aggressive with this thing. I need to be around the strongest friends. Okay.
Yes, and he learns this by giving me a loving headbutt.
The amount of times it when he has him when he has when we like pinned and it's just like beating the fuck out of his face. And your man just looks at him up at him and is like, "I pity you," you know, that kind of thing. It's like fucking hell.
Yes.
So yeah, the most way he can get this across is like it's going to be okay. Like grabs him by the shoulder and then boom.
Yeah, it's like puts one of the hands on his cheek as if to like, calm down. Yeah, and then wallop.
Like it's tender up to the point of impact, essentially. Yeah.
Yes, and then we get the flashback of the realization of, oh yeah, okay, I understand now what the problem was. Okay, we're going to disband, and the my team's now yours, Yumamiya. And then Yumamiya's like, what? No, that was your thing. You're taking control of my gang. I do not want to take control of your gang.
I
Too
got
much
enough
work.
guys. Yeah, I
See,
got
these
enough guys.
guys are got to handle these guys. Don't want any more.
So yeah, I mean, like again, the audience reaction of the kind of gang is like, is that what he really thinks of us? It's like, oh my god, he's given up his jacket, and oh my god, I guess we're part of this guy's gang, and him going like, absolutely not. Let's just say we're friends. We're friends now. Okay, cool. All right, everyone. I hope you had a great show. Bye. Like, and again, everyone in the audience going like, the fuck. Very funny. Very like again that first year on the announcement, fucking as the leader. It's just like this guy's a clusterfuck. It's good.
Yeah, it's because what we've seen of him already before this fight is like we've seen the serious side, but don't forget that goofy side we saw
Still
all those
important part of
episodes prior. Yeah, that is as much him as the serious, considerate fighter.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's carved out as much of his kingdom as he wants to carve out. He doesn't want to have any more. That's the amount of responsibility he can handle.
We already mined like one neighborhood. That'll be like 2 neighborhoods. That's a lot. I don't know, man.
Yeah. You're allies now, so we have to deal with a massive gang at some point. Then these guys can come back and
get creamed again, I guess.
Yes.
But they're available for it. Yeah.
I assume the top 2 will be better fighters once they've rekindled their passion for fighting and are going.
Yeah, and actually, like maybe help the lower badder fighters be better at fighting rather than immediately kick them out as soon as they lose one fight. Yeah.
Yeah, there's not really much to summarize because it's a lot of visual metaphor. But I did
like the kind of thing of both of them looking through the glass and the shatteredness, and one guy trying to keep it together, the other guy falling through it. Like, yeah.
Yeah, and I like that it's not laying anything particularly heavy on this kid's shoulders as to why he
didn't
like
become
this.
a dick because of tragedy or death or something like that. It's just like, no, he just took his ideals too far in a way that was stupid, and his best friend didn't call him out on it. Like those 2 things. That's it.
Yeah. Nice and simple for a first arc. And I understand why it's 9 episodes because I think this is by volume 4 of the manga. So I see people complain it's taken us a long time to get through this. I don't think it is. I think it's moving pretty fast, as I understand.
It's taken as much time as it'll need to get through what little there is of it, which is fine. Like, because again, it's not particularly like heavy or deep or anything. It doesn't fucking need to be because the metaphors and a lot of the dialogue and a lot of the pacing work really well, and the fights are fucking cool. That's it. That's all we really need. So.
Fun characters, fun fights.
Yeah.
Can't go too far wrong with that.
I kind of now see in the opening why the long-haired first-year guy, I forgot his name, like the only thing he kind of does is grab a dude by the head and slam him into the ground. It's like, oh yeah, because that's the only thing he's fucking done. We don't know what other moves he got. Oh dear.
Astronaut episode 9.
Hmm.
I can't remember what. So the bulk of the episode is about Ren not wanting his dad to go to the parents' evening.
Parent-teacher meeting is it? Oh, parents' evening. Yeah. That's it.
Because
the last time he was drunk and tried to hit on his best friend's mom or something like that. Which is yeah, fair enough. That does suck. Your dad does kind of suck, but then obviously it's proven by the end of the episode. No, your dad is actually pretty cool, for lack of a better term. Yeah, he's trying. Is the thing.
Aoi kind of comes to terms with her
Unrequited love
situation. Yes. Shion's suspicious that Mira's falling in love with somebody. That's why she doesn't want to take the throne. And
I like
her
that
about this.
I liked Aoi's realization is basically over a lunch date where he recognized her as like, oh, you're the rice woman. Now I fucking remember you. And it's a day that he recognizes her like as a person. He remembers the relationship. He respects her opinion because he like admits to her, it's like, yeah, I think I've fallen in love with someone. And she's like, okay, like I'm cool with this because you're not ignoring me. I am a person in your life, just not the person I want to be in your life. But that's going to be enough. And she kind of explains this to the mysterious stranger in the next room, which is the dog. The dog is like initially was like, oh, I gotta pair her off with him, and that way I'll be in the fucking clear. Princess won't be off with this fucking earthling and that kind of shit. But by this stage, he's like, are you sure that's what you want? That kind of thing. He's more about how he's like, I really want to help you out here.
There's definitely a Cyrano de Bergerac type thing where you feel like, is Naosuke the ideal man for her?
Apparently not, because she does hate dogs. It's the thing, and he's like, oh, okay, not cool, but fair enough. Ouch.
But yeah, the central thing with Ren is we learn that his dad is not his biological dad, but was he married or dating the woman, his mother? I think they must be married. At least there must be some sort of legality.
I was wondering, was it not married? Because he did talk about talking to your man's lawyer about taking custody of the kid, and if he was married to her, I mean, like even if it's not his biological kid, surely he'd have more rights to raising the kid. But if they were just dating, maybe that's why he's not. Maybe that's why he had to get a lawyer involved, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like the thing is like, yeah, he looks like his mom, not like me, because I'm not his biological dad, but I am his dad, and I will take care of him. And I like he's basically sworn off drinking just in case he shows up drunk at the parent-teacher meeting. Like he's trying his best, basically. And
and then Ren realizes, looking through the book of photos, that he has been trying his best all this time.
He's a fuck up is the main problem, but he is fucking trying, and that counts for a lot. Yeah.
And the other fun thing is we just have Ren running around in his skirt, and it's not commented on at all.
Yep. It's so fucking healthy. Like like a lot of the way, like again, a lot of it was just like, oh, I like him, but he doesn't like me. But even in this episode, they talk that shit out. They work past it. Like and I was just like, that's really nice. To see. I guess I'm getting older, so I appreciate that kind of shit a lot. In Bartender, there was a lot of like your man taking the piss out of her. He was like, hey, I got your girlfriend drunk. It's like, and she doesn't go, oh, I'm so embarrassed. Like they're adults. Like I appreciate when people act like adults, or at least empathetic humans in the case of like it being little kids, like in Astronaut.
And we also get Takumi admitting, not to Mira, but to Aoi, that he's in love with Mira. because
Yeah.
I think it's only been internal in his head so far.
So him actually saying it to her means he respects her as a person, respects her opinion, not confess it to her, but to like let her in on it because it's something he's trying to come to terms with. And actually saying out loud to someone else is bigger than keeping it in your head. Because in his head, he's just like we've seen it. He's been replaying compliments of like, oh, that was a delicious breakfast. I want to eat that breakfast forever. When we get married, and he's adding fucking shit in his head, like but externalizing it means it's something that he's actually recognizing is true and
Yes.
real. Like, yeah,
with that fun punchline where Howie says, "Yeah, Ren told me that Hellscape's not really a dog; he's a cat," because he saw him acting like Tom from Tom and Jerry.
So that's what the kid's been after the whole time. Not the dog standing on two legs or nothing, just it chasing something around like a cartoon cat. Fair enough. Yeah. I mean, I see how you picked him up on that. Which that's her admission, is like, which I'd be fine with, but he's obviously a dog, and I fucking hate dogs, man. Scare the fuck out of me. And that's just kind of like, oh, I mean, not like he's not like a romantic. Oh, he's like, oh, I feel kind of bad now, kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fun and sweet show.
But obviously, the romantic misunderstanding we're getting now is we see the mysterious stranger finally comes out of his room, and it's a beautiful Englishman with a cape. It's like, she's gotten the wrong impression. She's going to think the guy who's been advising her all the time is this hottie from Planet Wid. But what can you do? Yeah.
Well, it would helpfully resolve all the everyone gets to pair off at the end of the series.
The two B characters who obviously aren't going to pair off with each other could pair off, but I feel like he's going to be the villain, so I don't know if that's going to happen either.
I also assume whoever the villain is, they're going to not be that villainous.
Yeah, I mean, like maybe he just wants to control Planet Wid because it's politically unstable right now. What with their missing key? It might be for totally legitimate reasons.
That was it for this week. I don't think I accidentally watched anything else. No, I think that's all good. Yeah, I didn't watch any more of that martial arts show.
Okay.
Righty ho. That's it for this week. Next time we should get Niall back, as long as I don't. I'm not wearing myself out this weekend, so that's good news.
So that should be a little better for you.
It should be. Right, we'll be back then. Ta-ra for now.
Bye.
Hit that stop button.